Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the Woman to Woman TV show. I am your host, Jean Elizabeth Lockett, and it is such an honor to be here with you today. We do everything we can to bring you all some of the most interesting yet informative topics that we possibly can. So today, I want to say this is going to really touch your mind, your heart, and your soul.
Oh, yeah.
So I need you to grab a pen, call a friend, and keep tuning in right here to the Woman to Woman TV show. I'm going to have my guests introduce themselves as well as the co-host. And I'll be starting to my left.
Okay. Thank you so much, Jean.
You're welcome.
My name is Babette Payton, and I'm a lady veteran, and I'm president of the Young Entrepreneurs of the Universe Veteran Initiatives and a gold medal archer looking to go to the Olympics in 2016. My highest score, 299 out of 300.
All right now.
We're going to be there with you.
All right.
Hi, I'm Deborah Smith, the co-host, and welcome to Woman to Woman.
I am Thelma Walker, a PR consultant with Munson Walker Communications.
Well, if nothing else, I know that you have done what I've asked you to do. You've grabbed a pen and you have called a friend, and I know all of you all are tuning in so that you all will have something to talk about at coffee break. I'm cool and I'm fine with that. Today, ladies, we want to talk about baby mama drama. Now, if nothing else, that can go from both ends in regards to women as well as men. I find the topic to be very interesting, and it's so interesting to me that even in 2010, I did a play entitled More Baby Mama Drama, and we're getting ready to actually do that play again. And I don't know about you all, but I have come to realize that this is something that is really becoming so
prevalent.
Yes, that is the perfect word for that. I mean, and it's amazing. And I would have thought, that here it is that you would see that maybe in the just younger generation, but you also have that in the older generation because what does it do? It goes from one generation to the next.
Yes.
And so I'm actually hurting on the inside in regards to how things are being handled, because people want to continuously say, I love my child, I love my babies, and there's nothing that I won't do for my babies, but yet and still, these children are watching you act a natural born fool. Mm-hmm. You all are fighting one another. Mm-hmm. You can't see him because I don't want my child around no other woman, and the man is having fits because he don't want this, that, and the other. When we say that we love our children, what is it that we really mean? Will somebody really, truly help me out here? Because maybe it's something that I'm missing.
We love our children to the point that we'll do anything for them, they being right, wrong, or indifferent. We will protect them. If they're doing something wrong, we won't see the other side. We won't receive where they're wrong. We have blinders in some cases. And until we actually realize and put the whole party into a person-to-person situation, that humanality comes into play, where we are more compassionate to our own than we would be to the outside person.
But wouldn't you say that if that is love, that becomes tough love? Because if I love my child, if I say that I love my child, am I going to protect my child to say that it is okay for you to be doing something that is harmful to yourself as well as others? That's not love, that's stupidity.
But some people don't know how to differentiate the two.
Okay.
And their first line of defense from a baby is to protect my child.
Okay, well, and I want to be the advocate here. Now, I'm loving what you're saying, so I just want to be the advocate here. To say in regards to protection, what does it really mean to say protect? Because I want to take this a step further, because I want to really come into the realm of the baby mama drama type of field. Because if it is your choice from a male or a female's perspective, was to connect with this individual. From a woman's standpoint, it's, oh, he's so fine, he makes me feel so good, no one ever said the things that he's saying to me, and I want to have his baby because my baby gonna have curly hair. I mean, when it really boils down to this, why is it then that you're writing in your diary that he makes your eyes roll up in your head, he makes you sweat when you see him, but as soon as there's no more relationship, he's the worst thing that ever was created, and now it's using a baby as the tool to say, I know you love this child, but if you love this child so much, but yet you don't want to be with me, now I'm going to use this as a vehicle to say either you be with me so you can be with this child, or you can't see this child because you don't choose to be with me.
That's what's so sad about it. You come together, you create this beautiful child together, and then ultimately you start using it as a pawn.
Yeah.
In the relationship, and who's going to suffer the most? It's going to be that child. You don't want to pay child support because you think the mother is going to use all the money instead of thinking about the child and how expensive it is to raise a child these days.
But Ms. Thelma, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
For some women, and I'm not saying all, but for some women, it is not about the money taking care of the child. It's about the fact that you're not going to have enough money to take that chick out. It's about me getting my hair done, me getting my nails done, because you're supposed to take care of me. Mm-hmm. So now I'm going to be in the midst where I'm preventing you from taking her to the movies or taking her out to dinner, because why? I feel that money belongs to me. Whereas some mothers do take care of their children and sacrifice for self. But what about that when it comes down that's not what it's really all about?
Well, I come from a totally different background and upbringing, and I have a daughter who's 28 years old, and I've raised her very differently in the sense that you need to always be able to provide for yourself. You need to always be able to have your own money somewhere in your own account. She has 2 small children, and you need to always be able to provide for them regardless of whether or not their father is able to buy them a pair of gym shoes. And that's how my mother raised me, very independently like that, as an independent woman, and I raised my daughter like that. So
that's a whole nother show.
Yeah.
Oh, that's because
that can cause friction
because
sometimes.
of dependency. Because this is my question, and again, you all, I'm just an advocate here, because the way I see it, and not to say anybody is doing a poor job in regards to raising, but when it comes to young women, why isn't it, and not saying that you all haven't, but I'm just throwing a question out there, why isn't it that we wait for the man of God to come into our lives so that we're able to have a family where there isn't any division? You have an account, I have an account. You have this, I have this. But there's unity, because would you say that may also be the reason why some young women just feel like as long as I have a man, as long as he's telling me all the right things? I mean, could that be a part in that? No.
People are not waiting. People, it's just like you see the young girls or the older girls, women, they're pregnant and out of a relationship. They wasn't thinking about having a baby when they got pregnant.
Who? Some?
No, none.
Some of them actually,
purposely, they bait it.
I think it depends on what the man has.
Exactly.
What's in your wallet?
Right. Exactly.
And a lot of times it wasn't about it was okay. What time is this show on? It was about the emotional situation that they were going through at the time that put them in a position that ultimately the result was there was a baby.
So are you saying that there are some women who don't purpose? There are some women who purposely get pregnant.
There are some, but more so than not. They are not. That's not. You
Oh,
talking about a
I-
percentage?
Okay.
I have to
Okay, I want to
disagree.
say this. I want to say this. I think all those points are valid. We have to look at the diversity of reasons why. But I can tell you ultimately, most of the time when a woman wants to get with a man that's got money, celebrity status or whatever, it is to get that baby
Yes,
because they want
yes,
to get
yes,
that money.
yes.
We're here,
Yes.
and this is interesting. We have
we
a
li-
whole
for
lot more to talk.
stability.
Excuse me, ladies. But we're going to be back after this commercial because, look, grab a pen, call a friend, and tune on in. We're having fun over here because you need to hear this. We'll be right back after these messages.
Ever feel like you're capable of far more than what society expects of you? I know I do. Remember being a teenager and school being less about a passion to learn and more about getting good grades? How many times did you sit in class, bored and desperate to just get away? Every teen's felt that. Albert Einstein acted on it. Aged just 15, he's sitting in class when all of a sudden he decides enough is enough, gets up and walks right out the door. He never goes back. Remember being a kid and just wanting to play around with stuff, pull things apart, knock things together, and the grown-ups saying no, no, no. Or being called good for sitting still, or naughty when you couldn't bear to sit still any longer. It's all completely well-intentioned, of course, but that doesn't make it any less insane. Because the fact is our capacity to create and learn knows no bounds, and the latest research proves it. The invention of MRI scans only in the past 25 years has allowed scientists to see which parts of the brain are used by different kinds of thinking. We now know infinitely more than we did about how we learn and what makes up human intelligence. And it's extraordinary. So, want to know what you're really capable of? Let's start at the beginning. A baby's brain is amazing. It doesn't take 9 months to create. It's taken 7 million years and around 350,000 generations. All the skills, knowledge, and talents cultivated by our ancestors are stored inside it. These are like numerous software programs which can only be activated by the baby engaging with its environment. Here's the striking thing. If not activated at the most appropriate time, they simply disappear. Take language. If a child doesn't hear language by around the age of 8, they may never learn to speak. So you can see just how important our interactions are. They ignite our dormant intelligence and they reinforce it too. There's something else. We've evolved to learn by looking at things from different perspectives and making connections between things. And we do that through play. So wouldn't it be amazing if we bore all this in mind when raising kids? Letting them play when they're little and when they're older too? Charles Darwin's teacher said he'd never amount to much because he spent too much time playing with insects. So let children play, because it's never just play. Of course it takes more time and energy to do this, but when you're deciding where to focus resources for kids' learning, you couldn't do better than focusing on pre-puberty. That's when we learn by copying the people around us. After 12 or thereabouts, it's all change. Say goodbye to pliable, easy child, and hello, rebellious, challenging teenager. Ugh, where did that cute baby go? Ah well, let's have another look at that brain. See what's happening? Loads of the connections made through childhood are breaking up and reforming. From around the age of about 12 through to 20, the equivalent of an earthquake takes place in a young person's brain. No more going along with what the grown-ups say. The adolescent brain needs to go its own way. Oh no, say parents. Oh yes, say evolutionary scientists. Because if we hadn't developed this urge to do things differently, we would never have made it this far. Up until about 60 or 70,000 years ago, it was fine for children to grow up like their parents. But then along came the last ice age. Thank goodness for the handful of our ancestors who chose to break away from their doomed parents, freezing to death in the ancestral caves. They built rafts and set off across the ocean, hoping to find a place with a warmer climate. Critically, this made risk-taking the essential feature of adolescence. We shouldn't belittle adolescence. We should be honouring it for what it really is. The defining struggle, the moment when the next generation challenges the status quo and pioneers new ways of thinking and being that ensure our survival. Now just imagine if we actually gave adolescents the freedom to undertake that struggle. Rather than force them to sit passively in class, how about trusting that their earlier clone-like learning now enables adolescents to spread their wings and work things out for themselves? If that sounds terrifying, it needn't be, Because if we allowed their natural curiosity to flourish in childhood, they'll be bursting with the longing to learn and climb unscaled mountains of the mind. And that's not scary, that's exhilarating. This is the way we've evolved to be. It's what makes us fulfilled, well-adjusted human beings. Let's stop trying to live in a way that so goes against how we're hardwired to live. Let's allow ourselves and the next generation to reclaim the incredible gift of our ancestors. Adolescence is not a problem, it's an opportunity.
We are having a very, very good time talking about baby mama drama. You are right here at the Woman to Woman TV show. If you have just tuned in, we're talking about baby mama drama. Here, where you can get it in the raw. I'm telling you all, we have been having fun. So please grab a pen, tell a friend. Woman to Woman TV show every Monday and Friday at 4 p.m. streaming live at www.ectv.com, channel 6. If you have a comment, question, concern, just want to say you want to hear about a topic, you can call 773-609-4867. We want to hear from you. Ladies,
Yes.
I'm telling you, this is something. Baby mama drama. We were talking in regards to how things actually come to pass with the mindset of women. Now, I just want to say this. Is it or is it not fair to put a person in a position, especially fathers, and I go with fathers more so, and I know, Babette, you were saying even in regards to the women, I want to hear about that. But what I see mainly is young women who use their children, and I like how you say, as pawns, to either rear the man in where you gonna stay with me, or it's to that point that if you're not gonna stay with me, you can't see your child. But yet you say, I love my child. Is it or is it not fair that a child has to go through that, especially when you're hearing a child, I wanna see my daddy, I wanna see my daddy. You're not gonna see your daddy, and even her mindset, don't let that child look like that daddy. That mindset of that woman is completely outrageous because she wants to use it as I'm protecting my child.
Well, let me just say this. Can I just say one thing? Go ahead,
to
sorry.
manipulate anybody's life or livelihood, whether children are involved or not. You don't manipulate another person. And you should not even manipulate yourself in a negative format. And you never
Manipulate another person, especially when emotions are involved.
Exactly.
Well, I would take exception to that, and that is because this, as the mother, and you have to remember that a lot of these young mothers have never been trained, and a lot of these young fathers have not been trained either. So then we're dealing with the ones we're talking about mostly. Neither one have been trained. The men have not been trained to be fathers, or the young ladies have not been trained really to be mothers. So you'll see somebody pulling that child and saying, get your MF over here, outside, and like you said, they're using them around. That's because, one, they don't know any better, okay? I think we need training programs in high school. Now, I had mentioned before break the fact that a lot of women that's going to have babies by these guys is because of money or celebrityism. But let me just take it to another step into high school. High school football team, baseball team. Now to them, that's fame.
Yes, it
that's
is.
the same thing. They become a celebrity, they get in the news, they get on a TV show like this. Oh, wow, all of a sudden, life changes. Now, manipulating, that's just kind of interesting because, I don't know, what is the percentage of the number of young black men getting in, I'm not just talking about black men are going to jail and find themselves, because of economic reasons, they're entrepreneurs out here for the wrong reasons. And if they could channel that into something positive, they can make something happen.
Yes.
We don't have those environments, those youth centers and stuff available for them.
They shut them down.
So they go to jail. So maybe they come out and they still got this habit. You got a kid by him. You saw the goodness of him. And now if you give him to him over the weekend or whatever, he might be around drug pushers. He might be around pimps. I'm just going to say, I'm just throwing it out.
Right.
Possibilities. So when I say that there might be some exception, and you say, if you were to say it doesn't matter, that it does, because I know kids have been turned out, they're pimps, they're prostitutes, and they're selling drugs in high school.
Matter, but also that father might be really trying to change his
We're not
life.
talking about that one. We're saying there are exceptions.
What I'm talking about is fathers who I know love their children, do everything that they possibly can for their children, but yet and still people want to call them deadbeat. They're everything that can be negative towards that man is being said. Either he don't want to be with his children. I mean, I'm hearing this practically almost every day. I'm watching them. I'm taking you to court. I want child support. Most of the times, even the first thing that come out of most women's mouths, as soon as that man said he don't want to be with her no more and he wants to move on, is I'll see you in child support.
But again, that goes back to what Babette said earlier. It goes to life skills that are not being taught.
Yes.
And you say high school, I say grammar school.
Okay.
Because my 32-year-old my 32-year-old son, when he was in 7th grade, he came home and told me that there were young girls in his school
that was pregnant.
that were pregnant and that had children.
Wow.
That they had birthed.
Yes.
So these life
can remember.
skills need to go
Talk earlier.
Right,
Well,
and for people to say the education, you know, it takes more than the teachers to educate. But when you hinder the teachers from teaching those type of life skills, you're hindering the cycle. You're slowing down the cycle.
Well, I have two things then. I'm sorry, and I'm gonna let
Okay.
you say what you had to say. But there's two things there. How is it that a mother could teach a child something, and it ain't in all cases, but if she's a baby, what's she gonna teach her baby to prevent from being a baby
Right.
or having a baby?
That's right.
If everything else is, and if grandmama, mama, and grandbaby is in the club, I mean,
know. It's just
how
a
does
vicious
that go?
cycle. It's just a vicious-
It is a cycle.
It's just
It
a
is a
vicious-
cycle.
It's just a vicious cycle.
That we
But,
gotta stop.
When you were talking about the woman that says, well, you know, then I'm not going to let you see him because you got to pay child support. Will you just see me in court? First of all, I strongly believe in a man paying child support, but I do not believe in holding that child hostage because of that child support. I believe that whether he pays the child support or not, he has the right to spend time with his child and to see his child. I do not believe in talking negatively about the other parent in front of that child.
Or behind.
At all, or behind
right.
that child.
That's right.
Because that's grown folks stuff.
Yes.
That child doesn't need to even be involved in that or know about that. That child just needs to know that they're loved. And then you go ahead and
Exactly.
take him to court, you get your child support.
Yes.
But you all continue just to show that child nothing but
And
love.
that will help to break that spirit.
It'll help. Yes, it
Yes.
will.
Help to break
And then
that
you
spirit.
just, excuse me, you just pointed out, I think, because we are at a scenario where we have 2 and 3 generations of people that did not learn themselves how to be parents, we need to have joint things going on. We need to have parenting involved for the parents,
Yes.
for the grandparents,
Yes.
Yes.
and sometimes for the great-grandparents, because sometimes these, and for the kids in school, because sometimes you find out now they have this grandparents program, housing with grandparents, because the kids are coming to them. When you get
Right.
older sometimes, you might get a little bit more, you know, I won't say sense, a little bit more maturity,
Yes.
but find out then now you have to, these grandkids are dumped on you because your kid, you know, is
Are
not
lost in the storm.
Are lost in the
So
storm.
what happens, because from my understanding, they're supposed to have all types of parenting classes, but I think that the things that they enforce when a teen mother becomes pregnant, I feel that it should be forced.
Yes.
That she has to go through some type of,
Yes.
of
I agree.
training.
I agree.
And you
Some
know, they used to
parenting
have
classes.
things in schools, but from my understanding, they have taken these things out. The number one, and even when you were talking in regards to parents, the child support.
Yes.
Majority of the time, we don't always have to have to go to court to put child support. You have fathers who really want to take care of
Correct.
their children, but it
Correct.
is the mother who wants all of this unnecessary
Their drama.
stuff, you know, and she wants to
drama.
cause all, and because he doesn't meet the expectations that she wants, then she goes to that point of wanting to take him to court and will try to milk him for everything that he has. Is that fair? I don't think so.
It's not fair, but again, that's
fair.
education, that's sensitization to see how she can become independent, how the family works, and how the child benefits if that man is a good man from the love from that. And that's, again, education. Now, so if anybody is getting, I'm just going to say it, if they have kids, okay, and they're having problems, especially with child support, that's another key thing. You need parenting. You need to not just learn about parenting, but you need to learn about the relationships, and that man needs to be brought in too, so they can have some kind of, what do you call it, conciliation classes, even if it's not with that person. They need men classes.
Right.
So this is
Men
our
need
key.
classes too, in
Yeah,
order
they
to
do.
know how to deal with
Right.
these situations.
Well, I'm gonna put it to you like this, and this is just.
But who's gonna fund all of that?
From the desk of Gene Lockett.
All right, go girl,
What
go.
needs to happen is
Yes.
you need to practice abstinence. Because
Go,
if it's
yes.
not your husband, you shouldn't be laying with
That's
him in
right.
the first place.
That's right.
Then you
There
ain't
you
got to
go.
worry about having no babies,
That'll
and you don't
cut
have to worry about
down.
no baby mama drama.
Yeah.
And
Cut
if
down
you
on a whole
actually
lot.
have the Lord, your Christ
Yeah.
Jesus in your life,
Yeah.
then you would know instead of practicing condoms and promoting condoms, you'll be promoting abstinence. Because guess what?
Yes.
If you love me enough to lay with me, then love me enough to put a ring on it.
I know.
And if that be
Yeah.
the case, let's make sure that he's lined up and that he knows
Right.
how to be a man.
Right.
If he ain't picking up what is called the Holy Bible and he ain't studying from it, he don't know how to be a man. He don't know how to love you. He don't know how to do nothing else. But see, here it is. Everyone else will want to go against that. But I'm here and I'm an advocate
I'm with you.
for the fact
I'm
that
with
I'm
you.
not going to be wanting to give
Right,
you a
right.
piece of plastic. I'm going to want to give you a hardback cover or a plastic cover to tell you how to be a woman. So then you'll know how to be a wife. Then you'll know how to be a mother.
You gotta
You
learn
wanna
how to be
put
a
the cart
person.
before the horse, and it ain't gonna work. And when you sit here and you want to try to do everything else backwards, that is the reason why it comes and slap you in the face. But see, people want to say, "Well, we don't need to do religion and this." I ain't talking about religion. I'm talking about relationship. Thank you,
Right.
honey.
Right.
I'm
All right.
talking about a relationship with the Lord and Savior. When you have that, you'll have everything else. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna give some final remarks. We're gonna prepare ourselves to get ready to go home because I'm just really feeling this thing right
Right,
now.
we can go on.
Because this is a very, very deep topic, and there's a whole lot that can go with this. But Babette, what would be your final closing remarks?
My final closing remark would be that organizations that have programs or set up curriculum that can address these things look for sponsors to offer them, and we have to all come together with some summits or something to find some creative ways
Yes.
to interweave it, because nobody has the one thing that would make it advantageous, one, and then two, put a little bit of power behind, they have to do it.
All right.
Start with Proverbs, the whole book.
The whole book.
Start there, you know, and get one that you can understand. But start with Proverbs. That'll teach you about all of that.
Okay,
Amen.
and
All
Jean,
right.
since you put the Bible in it, I just say find someone who's equally yoked
Oh,
religiously.
praise the Lord, yes.
With you.
Amen. We're going to be
Yes,
praying.
yes.
Because,
Yes.
will everything in this earth really become perfect? But it can start with you in
Yes.
regards to saying, I'm going to do something wrong. You're watching the Woman to Woman TV show. We stream live on Mondays and Fridays at 4 p.m. You can find us on Channel 6. We are www.ectv.com. You can call us at 773-609-4867. Whatever it is that you would like to hear or want us to talk about, please give us a call. But if you're that young lady or that young man, never mind what anybody else has to say. Let's start making some wise decisions
Yes.
and choices
Yes,
so
absolutely.
that you won't find yourself being stressed out because of the choice that you have made. We can do it right. Will there be trials and tribulations? Yes, it will. But guess what? There are some things that you can really, truly have control over. We love you. Thank you. We look forward to seeing you again. Tune in next time right here at the Woman to Woman TV show. We look forward to having
Yes.
you. God bless.
All right.